In June 2017, the Treasury issued a report on banking deregulation, suggesting that if Congress raised the $50 billion threshold above which U.S. banks have stricter oversight, that it ought to do the same thing for foreign megabanks. And last month, the Fed took this cue and they massively deregulated foreign megabanks, and this was on a wish list that you had suggested would be an improvement. There's a lot to be concerned about with this, but the most glaring is that now Deutsche Bank would only have to file their limit 6 years. And that's the same Deutsche Bank that had a surprise $3 billion quarterly loss. Based on your oversight of Deutsche Bank, which led you to believe it was appropriate to deregulate them, how did Deutsche Bank manage to lose $3 billion and not see it coming?
Well, I appreciate your concerns. Let me just say what we're focused on is the U.S. subsidiary.
I understand. You're claiming my time. I understand. Could you respond specifically to how the hell do you lose $3 billion and not see that coming?
Well, I hate to say it, there were a lot of people that lost $3 billion and didn't see it coming.
We don't want to repeat that, you would agree.
We surely don't. I can tell you I am familiar with some of their really bad investments, and I find it hard to believe that they made them. But yes, it's a staggering amount of money we would agree on.
And Deutsche Bank has failed its stress test in 3 of the last 4 years, was fined for a mirror trading scandal involving laundering with Russian oligarchs, admitted to participating in a LIBOR interest rate scandal, and violated U.S. sanctions against Iran, Libya, Syria, and the Sudan. Most recently, it came to light that Deutsche Bank had willfully decided to ignore suspicious activity reports, SARS, with regard to the president and his son-in-law. What is your plan to hold Deutsche Bank responsible for failing to do appropriate oversight and respond to the regulatory controls that are in place with regard to SARS?
Well, let me just say the SAR issue I did read in the paper. I am going to have FinCEN follow up and make sure that Deutsche Bank, as anyone else, has SARS policies that are on everyone. So I'm not aware of whether this is true or not true, but we will have FinCEN follow up. I go back to our U.S. regulators.
Would you be willing to respond back to this committee as to whether that did or did not in fact occur?
I understand that we can't comment publicly on SARS, but we will follow back with the committee to make sure that we have done a compliance oversight, and whatever the result is, we are comfortable with.
Are you planning to ask the German banking authority to also do additional oversight of Deutsche Bank, especially given that we now regulate them much less than we used to?
Well, again, the U.S. entity, we will regulate considerably. So the U.S. entity with intermediary holding companies, we will be comfortable that the U.S. company doesn't jeopardize the U.S. financial system. In my conversations with the Europeans, yes, I will speak to them and make sure that they are properly regulating the parent entity, and I know the Germans share our concerns.
I wanted to ask you about FSOC's hedge fund working group. I had a conversation with Mr. Powell about that. FSOC's last annual reports in 2017 and 2018 included in each report 400 words about the 9,000 hedge funds registered in the United States, which collectively have $4 trillion in net asset value. That is $10 billion in asset risk per word of analysis from FSOC. And those words are, the Council recommends that relevant agencies continue to review their data collections and assess whether they are sufficient to allow the Council to monitor whether and how private funds may pose risk to financial stability. Why is FSOC just copying and pasting the same recommendations on hedge funds in 2017 and 2018? Do you not have enough staff at FSOC to prepare updated content? The last product to come out of the FSOC working group was in 2016. You're repasting the same financial recommendations even as the markets are changing and the risks that hedge funds are changing. In the 2019 report, will I see that identical 400-word content, or is the working group going to do some work and mix it up a little?
I very much appreciate your comment. I acknowledge that that's a lot of assets per word. We have talked about hedge funds. I believe you're right. This doesn't reflect, and we should not be copying and pasting, and we will update that appropriately. Thank you for
very
bringing
much.
that to my attention.
Thank you.